All right. Hey, Peter. Thank you for making time from a busy schedule and joining me. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, chatting with you.
Same. So, just for context, these conversations will be part of our series where we explore how IT service leaders are navigating today's challenges. And so, we'll begin with introductions. So, how about you first, sir?
Okay. Okay. Um, Thank you again for having me on the show. My name is Peter Holcomb. I am the founder and CEO of OptimoIT. We are a managed intelligence provider and systems integrator based in Denver, Colorado. Essentially, what that means is we're an AI security consulting company helping businesses adopt AI securely in their businesses and leverage the power of generative AI so they can become more productive and increase efficiency in their business lines.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm Ian Duftry with Growth, and I'm always learning from leaders such as yourself. So, the goal of the podcast is to explore how IT leaders are navigating challenges, discuss technologies at play, as well as generating some thought leadership for current and future industry leaders.
Awesome.
All right. So, just setting the frame for some of our first time listeners, before we dive in, here's how the call usually goes. So, we'll start with Peter's company background and industry trends that they're seeing in that industry. And then we'll discuss any current challenges and where you want to be in the next 6 to 12 months and long term. And then, we wrap up with any next steps, if applicable. The whole conversation usually goes anywhere from, I like to say 35 minutes to 45, 50. So does that sound good?
That sounds great.
All right. So Peter, as the CEO and co-founder, tell us a little bit more about your role and how it fits into the bigger picture at Optimo IT.
Sure, sure. Going back a little bit, just sharing a little bit about my background. I was recently the founding CISO for a company named Datavolo, which was acquired by Snowflake in November of 2024 last year. Prior to that, I was also the founding CISO for a telehealth services platform that did very well during the height of COVID. So I have about 20 years of IT experience and about 15 years or so in cybersecurity. That led me after the exit with Snowflake to figure out, well, what do I want to do next? And so this is where I said, let's continue forward with the AI security consulting business that I have and really take that full time and go see how we can make more business happen there. And so that's what I've been up to and what I'm doing now. And what we found in the last year or so is that there is a imminent need for industries and businesses to adopt AI, but they don't know exactly where to get started sometimes. For some of the AI native companies that we work for, they are further along in their trajectory of how they can adopt AI in their company and then leverage it to be more productive and have it benefit them. For the other companies that are a little bit more timid, they don't know what the risks are. They don't know if it's going to compromise their business, and they just don't know where to start in general. So oftentimes we'll come in and do a AI readiness assessment to just understand where do you stand in terms of your maturity curve, and how can we get you to a point where you feel comfortable adopting it without any of the pain points that you're going through now. So we really just start with a holistic risk assessment approach, a readiness approach, and then figure out from there how do we optimize it for your respective industry that you're wanting to leverage it for.
Gotcha. In your assessment, do you look at any of the? So I'm guessing when you say holistic approach, you're looking at every single business function where they either currently or in the future plan to use AI. Is the right? Am I on the right track here?
100%. Yeah. And,
Okay.
for a lot of us, I think the technology folks, we know that they're using it in the development processes. But look, marketing wants to use it. Human resources wants to use it. Customer service wants to use it, right? So you're absolutely right that there are other business units that want to use it. So we take a holistic approach and say, how is the entire business going to use it? Is there a standardized application? So chatbot in this case for GPT, Anthropic Claude, or maybe it's Gemini, right? Depending on what type of productivity suite you're using, we can use that information to say, are we going to standardize on this one LLM tool? Or are we going to allow other individuals to use other LLM tools that support their needs and goals in terms of being effective, right? So this is where that holistic assessment comes in. We look across the business units and understand where they want to use it, how they want to use it. Maybe it's for marketing campaigns, maybe it's to shore up customer service experience, maybe it's to do and help you develop software better by having a co-pilot implemented, right? We look at all that stuff holistically and then take our approach to implementing and putting a plan together.
Gotcha. So yeah, because as you're well aware, there's so many different learning models and so many different platforms available, right? Claude, which is a lot more technical, ChatGPT more generic, Copilot is more integrated with the Office ecosystem and whatnot. I feel like as more and more LLMs get integrated or available in more of the Microsoft stack with the Copilot integration or hooks into ChatGPT and others, it does allow for a lot more versatile use right across different company functions, so that the devs can use it and the marketing guys are using it, HR is using it to screen candidates. Are you seeing a lot of that a convergence in some of these larger, if you will, office automate? How do I say this right? In the larger big box enterprise apps.
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, we have a customer down in Dallas, kind of in your area, that wants to use it for their business, and they've told us, "Hey, well, we want to use it for we want to use it. We want to use Copilot with Microsoft Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, Outlook."
Uh-huh.
And we say, "Okay,
Uh-huh.
fantastic." I said, "Do you understand how much risk that is?" Because the reality is that Copilot is now pretty much ubiquitously embedded into everything,
Yes.
including Excel, Word, PowerPoint. And so if the proper security controls are not in place, an example, Microsoft Purview and the respective licenses are in place, like an E3
Mhm.
license or an E5 license, you could
Right.
have some gotchas that could get you in trouble, right? And so this could be somebody that doesn't have a need to know that could access sensitive
Correct.
information like salary information, or if they're on a RIF list, right, to be laid off. We're going into the holidays, so that could be a
Sure.
thing, right? And so these are some of the
Right.
controls and things that we make people think about. Secondarily, we also make them think about what are the classification schemes that we're going to employ so that the data is classified appropriately, so that we know that Peter has the right to access this data. And then is he accessing it on a principle of least privilege? Are there appropriate access controls in place? All of that stuff go into developing a plan that's going to be accounted for so that all the nuances are taken care of.
But no, very true. I think segregation of duties is definitely at play here when you're trying to, make boundaries between the different the functions and make sure that there's no data leaks or unauthorized access. So I'm sure you guys are adding so much value to that area that companies don't think about as end users. Everybody wants the AI and they want automation and they want efficiency, and less people put thought into this. So I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
What does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, given that I'm a solo founder with a limited employees, most of them are just 1099s that work with me, and then I have an intern as well. It's really navigating all of the complexities of being able to sell the services that we have, working on all the corporate elements to make sure that those things are in place, and the policies, the standards, the outreach sequences, all of this stuff is getting done. And then obviously just the client work. I mean, I have to do client work as well. And so following up on the strategic meetings, helping them address their audit findings, implementing an AI security policy or writing that with my colleagues, or putting in
Mhm.
AI security governance structure for different industry verticals. These are some of the things that we focus on day in and day out, which help us be able to share our knowledge back with our clients, but then help us flesh out sort of where do we need to focus as it relates to the industry vertical. So most of the areas that we focus on today are technology companies, aviation companies, healthcare companies, and financial services, fintech companies. So those are sort of the four major ideal customer profiles that we deal with. Uh,
Perfect.
I'd say 80% of our clients are within the technology SaaS space.
Okay. That's good to know, because we here later in the podcast we'll talk about your ICP. So no, that's a good insight into what your day looks like. And definitely as founders and with in the SMB space, there's so much to do, and their 24 hours not enough most days, right? You're like, hey man, I just want to squeeze 4 more hours into the day. Where to go? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we talked about some of the challenges with customer awareness in what AI can do and where to draw lines. Let's talk a little bit about industry trends. So, what major shifts are you seeing in your industry right now?
Yeah, I think people are starting to realize that we're moving away from the vibe coding movement and we're moving into actually deploying AI ready production systems. And so we are working with mechanic shops, marketing firms, compound medical firms, all kinds of different industry vertical firms that want to leverage AI, and they want to leverage automation, AI agent workflows, or pure autonomous agent systems. And so we are seeing that adoption gradually grow. We're also seeing that they have a huge concern about security. So
Hmm.
making sure that that's not an afterthought and it's baked in from the get-go is something that we're seeing. This is where the AI observability as it relates to the application health status or AI health status of the application or the system that's being developed is going to be so crucial. So we're not only being asked to develop that, but we're asked to make sure that that's in place so that we can have an audit trail of how these AI systems are working in the business, what actions they're taking, how many tokens they're using, what's the cost associated with that, what are the search relevancies, and then what are the guardrails that we need to make sure that we implement so that they're not going to go rogue and circumvent our business or make us look bad and tarnish our reputations. That's a big thing that we're seeing. We're also seeing, and I recently wrote a LinkedIn article about this, but MIT is releasing a concept that's called SEAL, and what that
Yes.
really stands for, I think you
Yep.
sounds like you've heard of it. And it's really about self-adapting context, right? And so I think if we think about anything that's going to transcend how we're going to continually inform the large language models to have real-time data, this is the
Uh-huh.
direction that we're going to move into, rather than building a somewhat of an old paradigm, which was retrieval augmented generation, to have a RAG architecture approach where it was going to go and fetch data from a vectorized database, pull that data into the large language model to have that as additional context. MIT is proposing that we have a technique whereby this self-adapting context model is living within the actual model and it's reasoning for itself, and it's able to use that adaptively and update itself on an as needed basis so that we're able to in real time have all of that context to prevent the models or the system from, quote unquote hallucinating and making stuff up, so to speak. So I think that's going to be a big trend that we see. It's going to carry some risk because we need to vet that data. We need to make sure that it's true. We need to make sure that it's factual, which is where the data lineage is going to come into place. And that's going to be a huge concern from a data security perspective. But the fact that people are thinking about how do we make sure that we have real time context within the LLM, I think that's a great way forward, moving into how making these systems AI ready, enterprise ready, if you will.
So this is in a proof of concept from an MIT standpoint at this point. Is that would that be accurate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they released this article about 5 months ago, but I think, and I just recently talked about this on the LinkedIn post, but it's I think pretty well POC'd already. It's now pushing it into the actual production environment to say, can we actually make this happen and have it be generally available and not just in beta?
Got it. Now, is this framework going to fit in, or would it be able to get deployed across different LLMs, or is it restricted to a certain type of LLM?
No, I think the goal is to make sure that it's model agnostic, and that it can be deployed across model frameworks. I mean, the reality is as we move into more agentic system development, we already know that there's going to be numerous models powering the agentic swarm. So one model could have DeepSeek, another one could have Olama, another one could have ChatGPT, another one for Claude, right? When you have that swarm working together in a fashion, that adds a tremendous amount of complexity. How do we guard that? How do we protect it? How do we test it, red team it? But then also, to your point, how do we make sure that the context for each one of those models and the respective languages that they speak or the schemas are going to be appropriate for those models to ensure that they're not going to go haywire and cause a mess, because they weren't trained appropriately, fined appropriately, and given context appropriately.
Yeah. Now, this is a huge trend. So I'm curious how this trend is impacting your business or your growth strategy at Optimo.
Yeah, we're starting to see more people ask about this now. For some of the smaller shops that we're working for, they have no idea about this. They're just like, hey, just do this thing, solve the problem, give us the outcome that we need. We're happy. For the other bigger companies that we're going for that are pretty well mature in their AI practices and have engineers in their teams that know about this, they're keen to understand, can we use this readily available sort of framework and this concept and technique and actually integrate it into our existing workflows. And that's sort of what we're trying to prove to them, that this could be a viable solution. I agree with you that I think it's still a bit early to say, yes, 100%, let's go for it. We are, by all accounts, doing a lot of testing to determine if that's actually factual with the respective data, but we're doing it in a gated way that it's not going to just go out and, you know, attack their entire OneDrive or attack their entire S3 bucket or a Google Drive, and we're being very segmented about it, as you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah. So, I mean, then the next question logically is, with this being so new, right? Are you getting any smaller organizations to kind of test pilot it from your perspective, so you also get to learn from it, tweak it, and try to make it fit to the bigger ones that are curious about it?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the SMBs are a little bit more lenient,
Hmm.
and so that helps us a lot. And we tell them up front, like, look, we're gonna try this technique and we're gonna see if this works. If it's successful, it's just an added bonus for you guys because now we can show that we can add supplemental context in real time, giving you guys more accurate and factual information as an output, and they love that. So that does help us to be able to feel more confident in how we can deliver this to the mid-market players or the enterprise customers. The biggest part in all that, though, is the AI observability. I cannot stress that enough. Being able to see what these agents are doing under the hood is deeply important for us to be able to not only troubleshoot when things go wrong, but it's also
Hmm.
be able to tell the customer, we know it's working this way because we're able to observe its behavior. Therefore, here's what the performance looks like, and you can feel assured that we're seeing the same thing, and you can see the same thing. And if we need to stand up a dashboard and put it in a Grafana dashboard that they can see those same details, we can do that as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think there's a lot to be discovered in how this evolves, and it's an exciting time to be in the AI space. It seems like it's 2000s all over again.
Yeah,
The dot-com boom is
dot
now the
com
AI
bomb. Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
right? Yeah, so
yeah. Everybody's talking about this thing being a bubble, man, and I think maybe it is, right? But the internet in and of itself was sort of a bubble, and then look where
right.
we are now, right? And so
Yeah.
perhaps there is one with AI, but I think there's going to be a course correction, and after that point, it's going to be full steam ahead.
Yeah, I do believe that the big the more resilient ones will survive and the others will get absorbed or die. As much as we want to see more of a we don't want to see a duopoly or a tripoli, or we want there to be more options. We'll see how this organism grows, right? If it mutates or if it clones itself, time will tell.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as far as Optimo goes, what's working well for you right now and what's been challenging?
Sure. Optimo's core competency as a business is delivering fractional chief information security officer services. We are an AI security consulting company, but we state in our marketing material that we are security first, and so that is what we lead with. And so, being a CISO in my past life, we have a very good grasp and handle on cybersecurity, AI security governance, and then understanding compliance very, very well. So everything we do and a lot of the clients that we work with, they're highly regulated. They're looking for compliance experts to come in and mature their programs, but then bake in the AI security stuff as a leader and a forefront thought instead of baking it in afterwards. So that has really helped us because we've gotten fractional CISO clients where this is fairly easy for us to be able to manage them as a client.
Sure, sure.
And then audit readiness work, we're helping clients obtain their SOC 2 Type 2 certifications or attestations, get them ISO 2000, 27001 certified or 9001. We have a company that we're working with that's getting a quality management system stood up. And so we're helping them with that endeavor. And now we're moving into helping companies get an AIMS stood up. So that's the ISO 42001, which is the artificial intelligence management system that these companies want to get certified against so that they can show security assurance to their prospects and clients as well. So we're seeing a lot of that work. But I think now we're removing, as of late, within the last 6 months, we are really in the thick of helping clients build AI agents, either to automate their existing workflows that are repetitive tasks, that are administrative burdens, or create new novel ways they can use, leverage AI agents to supplement their productivity. So I think these are some of the ways that we've been very productive in helping our clients succeed. Some of the
Okay.
challenges that we're seeing is some of the stuff just starts out as project work, right? And so you get a client, they want to do project work, you sort of fill them out, and we deliver on the project, it's successful, and then what we'd like it to do is move into a managed recurring monthly work stream.
Yes.
And so this is sort of where we're looking to move to, and that's sort of where the challenge has been in some regard, where we're saying we're going to start with project base and then move into a managed service offering. That's sort of where our next sort of move is going to be, and we're we're making better strides there. But it's still been somewhat of a challenge to make sure that we can turn the knob effectively and say we're going from project to a fully sort of long-term managed service offering and engagement system, and that's where we're moving along
Yeah.
now.
What is their biggest, reservation or objection, however you want to, whatever you want to call it, right? To not converting that project success into a more, MRR focused engagement that is like a retainer type of deal, right? I'm assuming where you get to deliver value on a continuous basis, and you're a constant part of their story.
Sure, sure. Yeah. I could tell you that for some clients, they have the expertise in house. And
Okay.
so they're okay just keeping it the way it is. They just needed sort of a nudge to move them in the right direction. I will say for other clients, we have other clients that are just do it for us, right? The whole thing, right? And so they'll say build the agent for us, integrate the agent with all the APIs that we need back to our business as usual software systems, and then just manage the whole darn thing for us. We don't want to touch it at all. We just want the outcome delivered and the value derived, and we want to be able to continue to recognize that value, but we want you guys to manage it as experts and just continue to bill us on an MRR basis so that we do have a managed service offering that's winning from a retainer basis.
No, that's retainers seem to be, quite popular in the last few years when converting or more of the fractional roles are concerned. So I think, yeah, there's definitely an avenue there, that can be explored. What metrics are you most focused on improving?
Yeah. um we look at ROI by all accounts. A good example would be if we understand what the average contract value is for a customer, and we can say, if we built this agent or if we did this thing and it gave you this type of ROI, is that sufficient for you from a KPI
Hmm.
perspective?
Hmm.
A former CFO of mine said there's really three things that we need to take care of. And that's, are we making the business money? Are we saving the business money? And are we reducing risk? So that is the mindset that we go into every engagement with, which is, are we helping this customer make money because we're building agents and we're giving them more productivity back? We're reducing headcount. We're allowing them to have more outcomes delivered. Are we saving them money because they're not going to have to hire new headcount? They're able to leverage the tools that they have, and we don't have to buy new commercial tools off the shelf. And then are we reducing risks because we're implementing guardrails and protection mechanisms in place, or putting them in place to make sure that they can proactively mitigate risks and not have to think about it as an afterthought and be reactive about it, right? And so that's the lens that we look at all the engagements. And a lot of the times that drives back to what is the return on investment based on the engagement that we're getting with Optimo, right? So why is obviously going to be a huge factor in how we're going to be delivering agents moving forward, not only at my company, but for every company, right? If everything is going to go to an outcome based delivery model, well, that outcome is going to have an ROI tied to it, right? And so we need to understand, what is that ROI for the industry vertical at hand, for that client at hand, and how do they measure it internally so that we can use that as a piece of data to inform our key performance indicator, and then we can march towards that to make sure that we're successful in delivering whatever the work product is.
No, for sure. What about the percentage, or I guess broadly speaking, when we go from more of a project based and convert that into a retainer after the fact, do you track those conversion percentages as well? And where are you at in terms of that?
Yeah. We are probably at a 50-50 split right now. So right now we're fairly small. We have about 10 clients. So some of the clients are AI native companies that don't need too much handholding, right? But the other clients are not AI native companies, and they're just on their journey of adopting AI in their business. So they need more expertise and understanding of how to do it correctly. And those ones generally convert to a retainer based model, right? I will say, even some of the AI startups that we're working with, they retain me as a fractional CISO to make sure that we can continue to help develop their security program, implement the right security controls, get them audit ready for their certifications, that whole thing. But I would say for the 10 clients or so that we have, we're about a 50-50 split. And it's not to say that next year, as we continue to deliver on these projects, that we don't convert them over to retainer based clients. It's just to say that some are more mature than others. And so We
Sure.
just deal with it as it comes.
And some realize it after the fact that, hey, you know what? We can't do this on our own. We need
Yeah.
Peter back.
Yeah, yeah, and that has happened a time or two as well, in
Right?
some of the ones that we've done in the past because they realize, man, uh, putting an agent together is not that hard, but testing it, iterating with it, integrating with APIs, making sure the calls work, making sure the observability works, making sure that the red teaming works.
Yeah.
That is all the time consuming part, and I think you would agree that a lot of the systems that people are building today are really like traditional software systems, right? They're just AI powered, AI flavored, if you will, and they require much of the same iteration and testing processes and quality assurance processes to make sure that they're done correctly, which is where a lot of the babysitting and handholding comes in, if you will.
Yes. No, for sure. This is definitely, I'm learning a lot from you on how you're using AI in security, and this is very enriching. So I'm just taking a lot of this in, and it's great. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What I told you earlier, we're going to come to ICP, right? So tell me, what is your ideal customer profile like?
Sure. Our ideal customer profile right now is really in the aviation, technology, SaaS, AI startup. Those should be AI startups that are about Series A to Series B companies, Series C companies, and then healthcare organizations or health tech organizations. Those are
Okay.
essentially the four ICPs that we target. We're generally talking to COOs, TOs, FOs on their um, journeys of AI adoption and what they want to improve by adopting AI in the business. For some clients, it's, hey, we can't win these clients because we don't have compliance baked into our product, or we don't have this SOC 2 Type 2 attestation, or some sort of regulation hasn't been met, and so we need your help. Another client comes to us and they say, hey, we just don't know where to start. We don't know where
Hmm.
we are. We
Hmm.
don't know what our maturity is. We have done a survey internally and we see that people are using AI, but they're using it for all these different purposes. We need to get a hold on all of it and tighten up the rope on how do we do this in a standardized fashion, right? And so we kind of, like I said, we come in, we'll do a readiness assessment, understand the business unit's maturity, and then put a plan together to say, let's standardize on these two or three tools. Let's put these security tools in place to make sure that we don't compromise ourselves or leak data or have data exfiltrated. Let's put these classification schemes in place. Let's enable access controls. Let's enable observability so we understand how everything's flowing within the environments. So these are some of the ICP conversations that we have with our prospects, and we sort of gate them appropriately based on the industry vertical they have, based on the regulations and compliance frameworks they have to meet, just based on their end goals in terms of how they want to be productive and adopt AI in their business.
Right. Are these mostly SMB, or do you also dabble in the larger ones? What's your sweet spot?
We are, everybody starts out in the SMB,
Right.
right? We have
Right.
to. And we certainly did, and we certainly are still continuing to do so. But I would be remiss to say that we are not moving up market, right?
Sure.
We've
Sure.
already started to move up market, and we're working with clients in the mid market segment around, I'd say, 5 to 50 million ARR kind of companies. We have other companies that are doing well over that. We're talking billions of dollars companies, right? So
Right. Right.
two healthcare firms that are doing $2.2 billion in annual recurring revenue. So this is a mixed bag right now for sure, which is a nice kind of area to be in. Um, but I think that's what the industry lends itself to consultants like myself and other players that are moving into this market space because everybody needs help with the adoption of AI. I would certainly think it's going to be more so in the small medium business, but we're going to go where the puck is in terms of, are these cool problems, are they novel problems that we're able to solve, and if they are, that's some of the stuff that we like to focus on and we like to help our clients with as well. Some of the SMB problems, don't get me wrong, they're easy to solve and challenge, but they're cash ridden and they're money conscious, so it's
Hmm.
hard to stick with them, right?
Right.
Whereas when you're moving mid-market or enterprise, they have the funds, they've been budgeted out, they've allocated that budget appropriately, and now they want someone to come in and guide them through that adoption journey. There's more, for lack of a better word, there's just more money there to get us intrigued to help them and adopt that in their business.
Oh, for sure. I think that definitely is pretty well classified in terms of an ICP, 5 to 50 mil SMB growing company in aviation tech, SaaS, AI startups. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's talk about the future, fun stuff, right? Where would you like to be in the next 6 to 12 months from now? And, you can talk org size, revenue, customer base. We can cover all those.
Sure. I'd love to. As I mentioned to you in the beginning of the call here, we are really classifying my business as a managed intelligence provider. And
Hmm.
so that name is starting to take off because in the traditional IT consulting world, we knew these players as managed service providers. And so these service providers are now having to offer AI for all of
Intelligence.
their
Yeah.
existing clients. Yeah, and so we're embracing that nomenclature and we're moving in that direction. Secondarily, we've also become a system integrator where these businesses say, "Hey, we want to integrate this AI with our ERP system, with our HubSpot instance for CRM, with our account revenue or account billing system with our healthcare instance, right?" And so now we're being a system integrator as well. And so I think we want to be seen as that and as a leader in that space within the next 12 months. We are going to be, I'd like to see us grow from a 5-figure company this year to a 6-figure company next year. We have 4 personnel working for me right now on the team, and we'd like to maybe get to another 4 more. So just grow and double in size. What I would say to you is that we're very methodical about the people that we bring on, partly because we are keen to use AI to supplement our
Correct.
processes as well, right? I have 12 AI agents running in my business, doing all kinds of things. So wherever we can automate, wherever we can be more efficient is what we are going to do. And we're only going to bring in outside talent to supplement our workload for the clients that we serve. Or if there's a true need to make the business better, we'd like to grow in headcount. But yeah, I mean, we really want to move the needle on becoming a leader in this space as it relates to doing AI, building AI agents, but building them securely with compliance in mind, with all the security guardrails in mind, and share to people that we studied this problem, we've understood the pain points, and we know how to tackle it effectively to make sure that the end client is going to be successful in their outcomes.
For sure. I am kind of a little more curious about your growth goals. If you had a magic wand to fix one thing in your business that's holding you back or slowing you down, what would that be?
Yeah, I love this question. I know you're probably a technologist like myself, my man. So
Yes.
it's sales, right?
Sales. Yeah.
Yeah, and then marketing. I'm not a marketing guy. I am a technologist. And you being a solo founder or a founder in and of itself, you know that we have to market our business. We have to sell our business. We have to sell our services. We have to sell ourselves, right?
Yep.
And so
Yep.
sometimes, even as big of an extrovert as I am, it can be a bit difficult to say the right things, understand the
Uh-huh.
signals that work appropriately, right? And then making sure that we're doing the outreaches appropriately.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is LinkedIn has become such a big thing for outreach and for client engagement. But others will tell you, hey, go and look at maybe cold email outreach. Well, I'm not ready for cold email outreach. I'm not big enough yet to do that. Right. So LinkedIn works better for me. The other way we've won clients at Optimo is we've gone to conferences, right? We go to webinars, we go to conferences, we go to workshops, and those things have been effective to help us share our thought leadership and our content and our intellectual property with people, and that has spurred curiosity for people to want to engage with us and work with us too. So I think one of the things I'm definitely seeing is that the interpersonal communication and the personable interactions that we have with each other, those are still immensely powerful in terms of winning business and
Absolutely.
having that in-person connection. It's never going to go away, right? It's where we start doing all these things digitally that the message could get lost in translation, and we could find ourselves having a hard time trying to win engagement or win clients or win prospects because we're not doing it in person.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Do you find that to be the same for you?
Yes and no. And part of that is I'll use a metaphor that one of my mentors use, right? You might have the Ferrari parked in your garage, but what makes you different from Schumacher to drive it the way it's to be driven, right?
Yeah.
So it comes down to skills, and so a lot of times I think it's limiting beliefs also that keep us from trying to accomplish the skill set, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's more of an evolution. It's like an LLM. ChatGPT 1.0 was nowhere compared to what 5.0 is, right?
Yes.
It learned, it
Yes.
evolved. We did too as as humans. So, it's definitely a process, and, outreach can be very powerful. I'm going to sound a little technical here, but the penetration testing for the outreach is in, uh, is in the copy. So I think that's powerful, because that's what gets how I get guests on the podcast. It's all about outreach, and from one founder to another, right? There's ways and means around it, and don't let limiting beliefs hold you back from doing that. So yeah, this has been a great chat, and your insights have been very valuable. I don't think I've had a guest that has been so invested in AI and security until now. So this is definitely going to be unique topic from the past 7 episodes for sure. It's been great having you. Is there any closing message you would like to share with folks that might be watching?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I just want to echo your statements. Thank you very much for allowing me to come and speak on your show. It means a lot to me, and I very much appreciate it. So I think a closing thought for me would be that we're heading into times where it feels like everything is closing in on us. But I think that maybe it's just us because we're technologists and we understand this, but we need to embrace sometimes just the uncomfortableness of what's going on. And we need to understand that the cat's out of the bag. And so we have to embrace AI. We have to learn to use it. We have to learn to live with it. Can we do things as humans to make it more human-like, and less biased, and more secure? Well, yes, and we have to be the ones that act on that and make the change. So I think what I would say what to your audience is, don't feel scared. It's okay if you do feel scared, but do realize that there are a lot of people that are trying to build these AI systems in a secure fashion, in a secure manner, and they're generally looking out for the best interests of the people that want to use these systems. It will be up to us to make sure that we are building in all of the safeguards to make sure that we can mitigate those concerns. But the only way people are going to be able to learn how to use these things is if they get their hands on them and they start tinkering with them in their own homes, in their own workspaces, or wherever they're tinkering with this stuff. I think that we should embrace it, and we should do it with optimism, but we should also do it with a bit of curiosity and concern as well. But lean on those individuals that have the expertise, that are doing the trailblazing in front of them, so that we can gain the information and the insight from the lessons learned and use that to temper our concern with regard to how this information and these agents are going to be deployed in our own businesses.
Well, very powerful message. Thank you for that. It's a lot like, when you see stunts on TV, they're like, "Do not try this at home."
Yeah,
This is the other way around, right? It's AI. Try it for your personal use. Play with it. Treat it like a secretary, and ask it to do things and do the research. Like, I found so much value in, when I'm doing my research before get talking to a guest. I use a lot of that, and then it guides me with the citations and the links. And so I'll go and I'll say, okay, seal framework, right? Let's dig in a little bit more, and then I find more content, more relevance. And so instead of just the old days where we Googled stuff and say, "Oh, I'll put in seal and it's going to show me the singer," it's going to show me all kinds of stuff, right? But
yeah.
I can contextualize it a lot better if I'm just asking the AI agent. So definitely echo your message there, and it's been a pleasure, Peter, just hearing from you and getting to know what your company does. Hopefully this can serve as a medium for generating a little more interest and awareness.
Yeah.
So I
I'll just say this last bit too. I mean, I think people would say, well, he's just like an eternal optimist. But the reality is many leaders in this space have already, shared with us that there is going to be disruption
yes,
in the workforce.
yes.
But just like as you mentioned earlier, the internet had its moment, and it made so many more jobs come to fruition. I think we're going to see much of the same, man. You know what I mean? And yes, there is going to be disruption, but people can upskill themselves, and if they upskill themselves, I think there are going to be new jobs that get created out of this new way of thinking, new way of working, that we might be surprised.
No, for sure. So yeah, definitely appreciate having you on the show, and we'll definitely be talking again.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you again for having me on the show. Really, really enjoyed the conversation.
my pleasure. My pleasure. I'll stop the